so fine. Oh, lady, let your body take control. You're on my mind, baby. Just move a little closer. And I say, oh, it's a night we'll both remember. Oh, sweet surrender. Oh, we're moving close together. Wanna make your body
Oh, damn. I almost missed my cue this morning. Hey, everybody. Happy. Oh, I didn't do this either. Hang on. One click. Happy Tuesday. Wait, what's it today? Tuesday? Wednesday? It's hump day. Ha! Hello. It's hump day. Good morning, everybody. I just reset the stream labels because I almost forgot before Gunfox reminds me. There we go. Let's reset that. How are you doing today? It's Wednesday, hump day. Usually it's Woke Wednesday. In fact, it is Woke Wednesday. That's why I have, is it Wednesday? I am so confused. It is Wednesday, right? Yeah, the 11th. Okay, I had to think about it. It's Woke Wednesday, so I have some stuff in woke culture today, as I do every Wednesday. Also, obviously, news that's happening now or yesterday or things that we can talk about from, well, we're not going to talk deeply about them, but I just want to let you know. And then when we're done, if I don't get into too much details, you can read the article yourself because I will provide that in the description down below in that single link that gives you. If you click that link, you'll have the links to every story I go through from this show. Anyway, on that note, I think I'm just going to drink some of my coffee. By the way, of course, I have my cup of reparations coffee. Yes, Maddie, it is here in the slut cup. I'm sorry, Salt Lake City, Utah cup. Play the intro, Johnny. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, P. Dawg Knight. All right, stop the music because I'm losing it. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P. Dawg Knight on the internet, and welcome to the Morning Night Live and the P. Dawg Knight Channel. It's Tuesday, the 11th of May, 2021, and I just don't know what day it is. If that came into the room right now and said, hey, anyway, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? I would be like, Wednesday, Tuesday, I don't know. It's officially Tuesday, except for Richo and Thomas Cleaver. It's already Wednesday for them because they're down under on the other side of the international timeline. But anyway, I'm so glad you're here because so you can tell me what the hell day it is. And I forgot I changed my microphone setup. My daughter did some recording for me yesterday. I'm revamping my intros and outros and stuff. So on my 600th show, you'll get to see the new intro. Anyway, so let's... I'm so damn confused, but I am still prepared for today. I have lots of news, and I have some Woke Wednesday. Oh, it isn't Woke Wednesday. Well, I have Woke Wednesday stuff anyway, and I'm doing it today because I found it yesterday. So that's what we're going to do today. And then I have, news and stuff and whatever, so... Oh, good Lord. No one in Australia cares about Sydney. Wikipedia snippet. Oh, by the way, okay. Let's just say hi and I'm going to get into it because I'm completely lost. By the way, the pinned chat in the chat thing there reminds you to share this stream out. That's very important. And it actually is a great help to me. So I'd appreciate if you do that. Let's go through the who's in the chat today. As soon as I turn my damn phone back on, what the hell did I do here? This is supposed to stay on. First in the chat today, Advocatus Diabli was officially the first person in the chat today. So you're going to get the bell because you were there just before I came on. But I'm also going to give this bell to Mike Savage, who was the first one here as I was firing up the stream this morning. So good morning, Mike Savage. Also, good morning, Maddie and Ronan, who are out. I don't know if you're on the road right now, but if you are, please be careful. And also, good morning, Thomas Cleaver, my friend, another friend from Down Under, but that other Down Under, aka New Zealand. Also, good morning, Ronan, who I said hi to a moment ago and even gave you a horn beep. Good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg. Good morning, Ken and Hotep. How you doing, my friend? Oh, shoot. What did I just do? Now, see what I just did? I just made it go like that. Also, good morning, Mr. Yes. Good morning, Dr. Keeve, Attack Alpaca, Jonathan Peterson, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadian. Also, good morning to Willett Forge, ex-Bubba Hotep, Also, Maddie. Oh, I said hi to Maddie already. Ost San is in the house. Also, is that about it for now? I got Ronan. Oh, Zablé is in the house. Good morning, Keenan. Also, let's see. Who else? Anybody I miss? Wikipedia snippet. What's up? Anna Lynn's here early. Nice to see you. Helen L is back. It is Taco Tuesday. And unfortunately, I didn't see it. Here's the thing. It is Tuesday, and my days are getting mixed up because I got something going on Friday that's really important, and that's why the show's not going to be at its normal time on Friday. And it's my days are getting mixed up just because I'm thinking about I have to do that. I'm like, is it whatever? Plus, I get up early and I don't sleep a lot, so I can make all kinds of excuses for this. Good morning, Somnambule Nation. Good morning to the pissed off Shih Tzu. Do not piss off the Shih Tzu. Good morning, Assassins of the Gray and Atheist Icon. And that's everyone that is in the list right now. Please hit the like button. Please hit the share button during the show, and we'll all just get along. Oh, and I still we haven't got a phonetic spelling of this, so I'm going to say it's SAG 007. How you doing? Nice to see you in the chat. All righty. Oh, and Higgs here. Hig and Cindy in their home base in Florida. I'm assuming they're still there because of the coof. All right. Shall we now? Shall we? So the name of the stream today is Diversity Splaining. And I was on Twitter late last night. And wait a minute. Does Taco Tuesday mean the same thing to Aussies? You broke as fuck. We call it Tight Arse Tuesday. Oh, well, I don't know. I didn't know. So, I was on Twitter, and one of the more liberal writers I follow, Matthew Iglesias, used to be, I'm trying to think of who he used to write for. I think he used to write for Salon, maybe The Atlantic. In fact, let me see if it says on here, because I did bookmark Matty here. And the only reason I follow him is to argue with him, to be perfectly honest. But which is, I guess that's kind of funny. But he wrote this thread, and why can't I find out? Oh, there it is. Okay, Matthew Iglesias. Here's his bio: writer, editor, slow, boring senior fellow, Niskanen Center, host of The Weeds, Vaxxed and Relaxed. These tweets are worth what you pay for them. I know he wrote for HuffPost too at one point. But anyway, he had this, oops, what did I do there? Hang on, let me get this right. All right, here, he wrote this thread. And a free article from his slowboring.com. So he's allowing people to look at this. So here it is. It's out on Slow Boring today. Rather than debate abstractions, aka wokeness, or definitions, cancel culture, let's talk about one specific thing. The white diversity trainer, Tema Okun, and her influence. Because she's like, okay, so this, good morning, why are you so angry, by the way? That's not a question. That is a name in my chat. So she's written some of this stuff that that companies and schools and everybody are using for diversity training. And she has quite a bit of influence in that area. She's kind of like, who's that one who wrote the one about white guilt or whatever, that she's super famous, and now I'm forgetting her name. She's she's on par with that person. Robin DiAngelo, you know who that is, right? Well, so Matt writes this article. I'm going to go through the thread first. I don't need to go through necessarily the whole article. You can read the article yourself. It will be, in fact, here it is. It's right here in, here's the article that he's writing about. Tema Okun's white supremacy culture work is bad. And I agree. It's bad for black people. Not just bad. It's one of these things I look at, I go, how's that supposed to help us? That's not diversity training. That's she's grievance grifting. Anyway, Okun's listicle, the characteristics of white supremacy culture, doesn't seem especially well regarded in intellectual circles, but it is being used in a very, very range of nonprofit and educational settings. Hello, Mac Pete, by the way. Okay, so here's just a sample from it. Is this? Oh no, this is part of the article. I'm not gonna. We'll get into that later. I'm just gonna go through the thread first. It's also incredibly dumb. Her characteristics of white supremacy culture have nothing to do with white supremacy, and he gives this example here. Institutional acid. Big Occam thing is that organizations are too focused on getting things done and not focused enough on process. For example, she labels sense of urgency as a character of white supremacy culture that manifests as a continued sense of urgency that makes it difficult to take time to be inclusive, encourage democratic and or thoughtful decision making, or to think long term and consider the consequences. Well, you know what? And when they use this kind of shit in diversity training, and what does it say about me as a black person that black people can't handle sense of urgency? Oh my God. Why? What are you talking about? She continues. She worries that things that can be measured are more highly valued than things that cannot. Well, how do you measure if you can't measure, for example, they're talking about like value of things or processes or outcomes, right? Basically saying, well, there's certain things that just can't be measured. Well, like, and I'm assuming like they mean like intelligence and shit like that, which it can be, but and obviously there's things that regarding intelligence that aren't necessarily measured well, but you know what I'm saying? They're trying to de-emphasize, in order to create diversity, you have to be able to not care about how to measure that, right? How do you measure? Well, if you can't measure things, like how do you measure whether or not your training has any value? See how that makes it so much easier for her? Because now we don't have to measure the value of her training either. Another thing white supremacy culture causes us to do is believe in little or no value attached to process. If it can't be measured, it has no value. Well, okay, now the value of process to reach let's say you're trying to reach an outcome, right? And you have this process, right? But the process constantly veers in and out of what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Don't you need to measure whether or not some of the stuff in there that you're doing is fluff? So of course there's value attached to process. What you want, anything you want to do, you obviously have to have a value in process, but don't you need to also be able to use process efficiently? Okay, anyway. And then she complains that those with strong documentation and writing skills are more highly valued, even in organizations where ability to relate to others is key to the mission. I kind of think, anyway, I'm going to go, let me get out of this. I'm not even comment on that one. So then, and Okun, and I don't understand, this white lady's name is, what is her name? She has Tama Okun. That almost sounds like, well, Okun almost sounds like a Igbo name, but so I'm trying to figure out what this name is from. Anyway, it's interesting. I'm just interested in names. And Okun constructs this such that even an organization with non-white leadership and majority non-white membership can be white supremacists.
That's racist!
Here's from his article. But then Okun herself concedes that there's no necessary relationship between manifesting white supremacy culture and being white yourself, nor even the ethnic composition of the group, because we all live in a white supremacy culture. These characteristics show up in the attitudes and behaviors of all of us, people of color and white people. Therefore, these attitudes and behaviors can show up in any group or organization, whether it is white-led or predominantly white, or people of color-led or predominantly people of color. So if the minister of a black church is asking for more changes to something, and one of the people he's working with feels the minister is being too much of a perfectionist, and therefore advancing white supremacy. See, wanting things done the right way, if you listen to what this is saying, is white. Do you see why I might have a problem with this? Because I like doing things the right way. I like being efficient. I like to be able to, one of the reasons that I like being efficient with things that I do in my life is because it gives me more free time to do the other things that I just like to do. So if I like things to be efficient, as a black man, I say, if that's white supremacy, well, damn it, I'm a white supremacist. I'm just saying, right? But so this ministry being too much of a perfectionist and therefore advancing white supremacy. Yes, the pastor in your black church is a white supremacist. Yes, Tyler Perry, who is a billionaire and has a huge complex and buildings and shit down in Atlanta, hiring all kinds of black people, hiring all kinds of black actors, writes stories for black people. And some of you might think he's funny, some of you not. I love me a Tyler Perry story. They're simplistic, but I enjoy them anyway. Tyler Perry's a white supremacist because he runs his business like a business. Doesn't matter if he's black. He's a white supremacist, according to Okun's theories. And so the whole article here, we'll just get into the beginning of it. I'm going to leave it it'll be in the links down below. Debating abstractions is difficult and frustrating, and the discourse about wokeness and cancel culture has become a snake pit of semantic debates. Bad faith actors and people of goodwill talking past each other. He's talking about the conservatives who talk about this because he doesn't think they should be able to talk about it. And Matthew Iglesias is a liberal, so the white liberals can talk about whatever they want. I'm just saying. So I want to talk instead about one specific document, not because I think it's the most important document in the world, but because I don't really see anyone who I read and respect talking about it, even though I've seen it arise multiple times in real life. I'm talking about the characteristics of white supremacy culture. Now, he put a link to this. Let me see if this has the whole training in here. Oh, it is. It's right here. The characteristics of white supremacy culture. I need to go through this. This is used, and I know this is used a lot. I've seen some of the elements of this in some different diversity training stuff that I've been studying and looking at. He's talking about the characters of white supremacy. I'll have that in the links too at the end of the show. By Tema Okun, which I first heard of this year from a leader of a progressive nonprofit group whose mission I strongly support. He told me that some people on the staff had started wielding this document in internal disputes, and it was causing big headaches. Because here's the thing. So a lot of companies and organizations stuff, their big thing is now diversity is everything now, right? If you go on TV and you watch a baseball game or you watch your favorite show and the commercials come on, everybody in the commercials are black or other peoples of melanin enhancement, right? And there might be a white person here and there, but I laugh with my wife, who is a ma, if you know what ma means, a middle-aged white woman. And I laugh because I see these commercials and everyone's black in the commercials. And I think it's cool that they have black people in commercials, but we're so way overrepresented in commercials. It's weird to me as a black man. See, everybody in commercials, all the important people in commercials are black people in the United States right now. And I mean, it's kind of weird. It's like, you know what? That don't look like my neighborhood either. They want it to look more like America, but you would think that, we had the same racial makeup as, a country in Africa, because if you just watched our commercials, I don't know why I went on that side note. But anyway, all these companies, right? Then universities and everybody wants more black people. And I had an argument with someone a while ago because, I'd said, well, all these companies, schools, whatever, want more black people. And so they find ways to try to encourage more black people. But we are a small percent of the population. We're 13% of the population, right? And also, unfortunately, because many of us live in cities with school systems that we call them bad school systems. I call them bad parenting. But, the percentage of black people that even graduate from high school is lower, unfortunately, than other ethnic minorities, which, but now the big push is to get more black people. So my son, when he was looking at colleges, there's the college he ended up going to, he got a very nice academic scholarship to it, but there was another scholarship that he applied for that was only for black people, and he got it, right? And he got full tuition at this, this university he went to, it was for us, he'd already gotten a really good academic scholarship, but it went from pay some of the tuition to pay none of the tuition. And we're like, well, yeah, damn, because good for, hey, I'm taking it, right? That's our form of reparations, I guess. But that's the way companies do. Everyone, look, I know that people say, black companies don't hire black people. That is false. If you are even a decent student, a good student, you can get a lot of money for being black. You can get, and all the companies want all the people. The world is your oyster if you graduate high school, either go to a good trade school or a good college and go looking for jobs. Every company's looking for black people because these people like this are like always talking about what they need diversity. And if you're good, if you're really good, whoo boy, they're going to advance you. Now, is that fair? I don't know. For a long time, it was the opposite. So maybe that's the form of reparations I'm fine with. I'm kind of up in the air. If they do reparations, how are we going to teach ourselves to build? I would rather black people build their own if that's what people want. But the opportunities are amazing. But unfortunately, we don't tell all our kids that, especially the kids in the city. I don't know what happens with kids in the city anymore. I know that's what I taught my kids. It's like, hey, if you really want to, if you just don't let any of this schooling stuff go to waste. And the world's your oyster when you get done. And my son makes very good money now. My daughter makes very good money now. They're going to be very successful people, and I'm very happy about that. But anyway, that was a rant. So anyways, you say that people were wheeling this document in internal disputes and it was causing big headaches. Once I had that on my radar, I heard about it from a couple of other nonprofit workers, and I saw it come up at a parent-teacher association for my kids' school. And this is the shit that they're bringing into the schools. So it's an excerpt from a longer book, Dismantling Racism, a workbook for social change groups that was developed as a tool for Okun's consulting and training gigs. So look, very much like Robin DiAngelo, this person charges organizations and companies and unions to come in and, hey, come learn my diversity training from a ma. And then a diversity training is, very strange. So, and again, also whiteness, when she talks about whiteness, isn't there one of those whiteness people that are always talking about whiteness, right? And what whiteness is. Whiteness is detached from race. So Tyler Perry, like I said, Tyler Perry's a white supremacist because he takes on characteristics of whiteness. What? What the? Anyway, I'll show you one. But here's one of the slides. Okay, here's one of the slides. Let me see if I can make this. Is there a way to make this bigger? Anyway, it's very hard to read on your screen, so I'm just going to kind of tell you what it says. This presentation slide shows that administrators are being taught to avoid the hallmarks of white supremacy culture as a part of schools Chancellor Richard Carranza's overhaul. I don't know what that means. The points are drawn from Dismantling Racism, a workbook for social change groups by Kenneth Jones and Tima Okun. They include perfection. Now, these are the characteristics of white supremacy culture. All right. Here we go. Perfectionism, giving undue focus to the shortcomings in someone or their work, or viewing them as personal flaws. Making a mistake is confused with being a mistake, doing wrong with being wrong, according to a description of the book on the website for the Challenging White Supremacy Workshop. That sounds like projection from Ms. Okun. But that's a characteristic of white supremacy. Perfection, wanting things done right, is what I call perfectionism. Sense of urgency, prioritizing short-term results without considering long-term implications. For example, sacrificing interests of communities of color in order to win victories for white people, the write-up says. Well, what? Wait a minute. What is sense of urgency? Is trying to win victory for white people? What organization is she talking about? I'm just curious. Third one, defensiveness. Now, if you accuse something of something that's supposed to be the worst thing in the world, I wouldn't be surprised if someone gets defensive, but here's how they describe this. When people often in power are dismissive of new ideas solely for fear that they might shake things up, the defensiveness of people in power creates an oppressive culture. Oh boy, I'm so oppressed. Okay, here's another one. Quantity over quality. Now, I don't know what organization she's talking about here. Because most organizations want both quality. Well, it depends on what they're doing. If you're trying to oh, this is a bad example. If you're trying to come up with stupid 19 stabs, well, we definitely want quantity over quality. Oh Lord, I shouldn't have said that. I'd probably get banned from YouTube for that one. Anyway, quantity over quality this is a part of white supremacy culture. Being results-oriented and diminishing an otherwise sound process if it doesn't produce measurable results. It also goes hand in hand with discomfort with emotion or feelings. You know what? My widget doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. Okay? If I'm building a widget, I certainly want a quality widget. And if your process takes 20 hours to build my widget and the process I'd like you to do takes 5 hours producing possibly the same quality of widget, which process would I rather make happen? Okay, I wonder if this is related to CPT, if you don't know what CPT is. Okay, this is a question. Anyone in the chat know what CPT is? I probably shouldn't have brought this up. Also, it's also known as, I call it equator time. Equator time it's okay. So you notice how cultures that live near the equator, in particular, yes, colored people time. Good job, Somnambule Nation. People and cultures who live from near the equator, and I've noticed this is fairly true around the world. Tend to be less concerned with time, when things happen, when as far as we're really, Americans in particular are obsessed with being on time and doing things in a timely manner and this and that and that. That's American culture. That's not white culture. That's American culture. Because I'll tell you what, when my grandmother went to Africa in 1972, she taught English for 3 years over in Liberia. And one of the things that drove my grandmother crazy is that if you say we're going to do this at a certain time, at home, man, when if we were late for dinner at my grandmother's house, like we're going to my grandmother's house to go eat or something, if we were late, oh Lord, my grandmother would be, she'd be like, ah, 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 ah. So when she was in Liberia, though, she said the thing that drove her nuts is nobody is in a hurry to do anything, or if you're, I'm going to come and teach a class at this time, people are strolling 10, 15, 20 minutes late and still, want things done. It's like, wait a minute, we don't have this is the much time we have. But that's not just Africa. That's not just, and people talk about that Mexicans did, people in Mexico too, it's not about time. And here's what I figured out about that. Boy, I'm really going on tangents today. Here's what I figured out about that. It happens in India. It happens in, Central America, the northern part of South America, Africa, all the equator time. And I kind of figured it out. Here's why those cultures are much more, less finding time, less important. Here, let me do this because this is important. This is an important point I'm making here. Because it's hot. It's hot. Nobody wants to move fast when it's hot. If you move too fast when it's hot, you just sweat and you're miserable, and it's just too damn hot to be working during the day. So you know what? People take siestas and take a nap in the day, and then when it gets maybe cool in the evening, then they'll start doing stuff. But it's just too damn hot to move fast and be in a hurry and be on time. No, they're not lazy, Sean. It's hot. Okay? It's simple. Does that make sense? Anyway, and look, when you're in climates where it gets cold, you want to get somewhere fast because you want to get out of the cold. And so you're used to part of the year, you're used to getting cold, right? And you don't want to be outside. So you move faster to get in something inside. So people are used to just saying, okay, well, I got to be here. I don't want to be out here in this cold. I'm going to get my ass over there and get someplace warm. So everyone in the northern and farther south, the southern hemispheres, are sometimes in a hurry. There's never time you need to be in a hurry if you live near the equator. And then sometimes that carries over culturally, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm just talking shit. So this quantity over quality, that's okay. Next one, worship of the written word. Now, here's something that's just stupid because we grow up in an American culture. Okay. I hate when they say and when I say an American culture, the culture of this country has, from the beginning has been work ethic and this and that. So anyway, but they like to call it white supremacy culture. And oh, by the way, the other thing too is, so it's not just equator culture. I've grown up my entire life north, okay, from Omaha to middle of Iowa to now, and I live in Minnesota now, as you know. People in the north of the United States move faster than people in the southern states too. There's a more laid back culture the farther south you go. Okay. So again, it's just so people who live in hot climates tend to go a little slower. That's probably true around the world. People who live in the south of Spain are the same way. People who live in the Mediterranean are the same way. Okay, the warmer the climate, the more likely you are to be a little bit more laid back about time. I've seen it in so many different parts of the world. But people in northern climates tend to move faster and be on time. It's just, it is what it is. All right, worship of the written word. This idea prioritizes documentation and writing skills rather than the ability to relate to others. It also leads to teaching that there is only one right way to do something. Guess what? If something is written down, okay, and that's the right way to do it, right? and someone comes up with a better way to do something that benefits everyone in the group or organization, guess what happens? Somebody writes that down and decides to use that. So, and there are certain jobs that if you, let's say you're an electrician, right? And back when Thomas Edison and, Ben Franklin and all this early electricity people started making shit, and they were randomly doing stuff, and there was no written way to do shit, and they didn't know, so a lot of it was trial and error, and it took them forever to learn shit and make shit and do shit. But as time went along and more people were working with it and they learned from the person in front of them, the processes got easier, and they found new ways to do things that make things improved. And then the closer you get to this time, then same thing. They learned all the processes they learned before. All the trial and errors, people tightened up, right? They tightened up the processes. And so now those processors are all written down because those processes happened over time through the trial and error and the improving of process as you go along. So that written word changed all along that time. People making light bulbs now are not using that same written word that Thomas Edison did when he came up with one, and the brother who made improved the carbon filament to last longer. In fact, Thomas Edison's light bulb was improved by the brother who improved the carbon filament. And then someone else improved the way to seal the vacuum on the light bulb. But so, you know what? We're not using that process at all. All my light bulbs are LEDs because we've continually done improvements and we've written it down, written word. So yeah, we worship the written word usually because the written word has come from processes that we've done over time. Now, the idea is that the ability to relate to others and it leads to teaching that there's only one right way to do something. No, it doesn't teach that there's only one right way to do something. It just teaches that's the way we do it right now. Now you come up with a better process or whatever and are able to relate to the people that they want you to relate to, then we probably improve the process by using your idea. It's just that the written word tells you often tells you what has already worked. The written word is not the process in itself, but it is the process over time that is recorded. So that's why people use the written word, worship the written word. Down here, we've got paternalism. Oh, now we're getting to your mindset. When those already in power think they're the only ones who can or should make decisions. I don't know if they think that everything should be a democracy or everything should be a vote. It depends. If I own a company and I hire a bunch of people, and I kind of want things done my way, I might take suggestions from my employees. But you know what? The guy I hired yesterday, who may be a very smart person, but there's a reason. There's why I might be the one to make decisions. Those with power often don't think it is important or necessary to understand the viewpoint or experience of those for whom they are making decisions, the write-up explains. When I disagree with my boss on something, it all depends what your relationship is. Is this a group where everyone is is this a commune where you're deciding how to make the commune work better, where everyone's going to have a vote? Sometimes too many chefs spoil the dish, right? Or too many chefs spoil the soup sometimes. So sometimes you have to have someone lead. Now, does it always work out when you do that? No, you might have a leader who's an idiot. But is that white supremacy? On my first trip to Africa to meet my family, my father is the chief, right? And a lot of the decisions made about what happens in the village went through the chief, and they would, sure, there's elders in that village who, they would all consult together and whatnot. But in the end, the chief kind of made the decision based on what everyone, talked about. Is that the paternalism they're talking about? That's white supremacy. So is my father, or my late father, was he a white supremacist? Oh, wait, did he learn that from the English? Because, the English, it was Nigeria was a colony of England for one point in time. Maybe they learned that from the English. I'm curious if other cultures work that way. I don't know. But according to this person, it's white supremacy. Either or thinking, seeing things in terms of good or bad, right or wrong, black or white. This is good Lord. It's almost like they're talking about my grandmother. This results in trying to simplify complex things. For example, believing that poverty is simply a result of lack of education. No, I don't know if anyone thinks poverty is simply a result of lack of education. It's there's obviously multiple factors in anyone's poverty. Poverty affects everybody. It's almost as though they're using either or thinking with that example. But anyway, power hoarding. Oh, this is a good one. Power hoarding. Similar to defensiveness, those in power seek to preserve it and see it as something that can't be shared. They may also feel threatened when someone suggests change and assume they have the best interests of the organization at heart. I'm not sure what the hell she's talking about. Oh, so the boss or the owner should defer decisions to anyone who comes through or something. I don't know what that means. And I'm not sure how that, I don't know what's white about that. Fear of open conflict. This comes through when someone overemphasizes politeness and equates broaching touchy topics with being rude. The response is to blame the person for raising the issue rather than look at the issue which is actually causing the problems, the description says. So I guess they're saying, look, again, it just makes me how this is related to strictly white people, I don't know. Or I shouldn't say white people because I forgot Tyler Perry is a white supremacist. Why this is white supremacy? Or is this just organizational issues that every organization has, no matter where you are in the world? Now individualism, that's not I don't know if that's a white supremacy thing, but that's certainly an American thing because we've rugged individualism and shit. And is it because America was run by white people and they think that it should be changed? See, this is where they kind of go. What they're doing. They're see the hints of Marxism in here. Anybody notice that? This idea is found among people who have little experience or comfort working as a part of a team. I've been a part of not many, but several organizations that have similar, not necessarily similar function, but similar organization, right? And most organizations realize that you have to work in teams or work together for certain things that you want as outcomes, right? And then there are some organizations that require multiple individual efforts. I don't know how, again, and that's not untrue for anybody in any organizational setting, whether it be a small, tiny tribe in the middle of the Amazon or Amazon.com, right? It can lead to isolation and emphasize competition over cooperation. Well, in some cases, competition creates results, and in some instances, cooperation creates results. I don't know that anyone who's running, especially large businesses, I'm pretty sure they all understand that. But why is individualism white supremacy? I don't get it. Maybe someone can help me. Maybe someone in the chat knows. I'm not quite getting this. Next one, progress is bigger, more. Focusing only on the bottom line and tangible growth. Progress is is an organization which expands or develops the ability to serve more people. Those with this mindset think. Is that that sounds just like the goal of any business that wants to do better. Now, granted, some businesses, their progress is making a better product, but why, and then the competition of making a better product allows you to sell more of your product, and you can affect more people. I still, again, let's say, okay, let's go back to that tribe in the Amazon. Okay. Not a huge hierarchy. I suppose the hierarchy of needs doesn't remain the same, but it certainly has a much more streamlined, simplified end goal, right? To survive, eat, sleep safely, and not get killed by animals that want to eat you or kill you. Do you think they also may focus on, I wouldn't say the bottom line, but the bottom line is, well, are we able to eat better or eat more efficiently or eat, with less effort? Isn't that also focusing on the bottom line in a sense? As the tribe in Amazon versus Amazon.com. Okay. Now you can argue that the Amazon.com one you could argue, I'm not making this argument, but you could argue that Amazon.com is going too far and maybe also ruins the lives of as many people too, when some other businesses are destroyed by their business model. But bigger is more. I don't know. I guess again, why is this white supremacy? White supremacy? I don't know. Next one, objectivity is white supremacy. This can lead to the belief that there is an ultimate truth and that alternative viewpoints or emotions are bad. It's even inherent in the belief that there is such a thing as being objective. Again, I go, why is this white supremacy? Can people of color not have a sense of objectivity? Because to me, objectivity tends to be, and the belief that there's an ultimate truth, isn't objectivity more of a belief that you want to get to a solution? Or, I don't know. Notice she objectively tells us objectivity is bad. Right. Okay. Anyway, and then the last one here is a right to comfort. A right to comfort or desire for comfort? I'm curious. Because who says that? Oh, I know what this is going to say. I should have read it before I did this. Those in power may believe that they have a right to emotional and psychological comfort, while denying the same to those not in power. This also covers cries of reverse racism. Oh, that's where she's going. Because that's equating individual acts of unfairness against white people with systemic racism, which daily targets people of color. Does it, though? Okay. As a melanin gifted individual. Individualism, sorry. I'm going to say it anyway. As a melanin gifted individual, I'm trying to figure out, because this is very interesting. People with systemic racism against white people with systemic, the unfairness against white people with systemic racism, which daily targets people of color. Okay, as a people of color, I'm under that category. I'm trying to figure out what system is targeting me daily. Now, because apparently this is teaching that we are all a monolith. We are not. Now, to say the very least, we are not a monolith. So I'm curious now, because I fall under the category of people of color. What system? In fact, I am fairly good at using the systems to take advantage of things that, maybe that means the systems which daily target. Well, for example, this is systemic racism, though. Systemic racism, which daily targets people of color. I don't know. Oh, the YouTube algorithm targets you daily. You know what? Okay, anyway, this article is in the tabs, or will be in the link down below at the end of the show. It's a good article, and it's interesting that Matty Iglesias wrote it. Okay, he kind of rips it to shreds. So, anyways, speaking of YouTube targeting me daily, so I still have not gotten a satisfactory answer from YouTube regarding the content strike that I got from this running website, right? During the Drake relays. And in fact, I'm about to write them. I'm going to continue bugging them. But so I haven't gotten an answer. And I want a copy of the copyright claim, which I never received. They will not tell me what the claim was, nor will they tell me. I mean, they told me what video is on, but it was a video that was empty at the time. So, whatever. Ever since I've had that episode, I got another copyright claim. Well, I get copyright claims occasionally because of music, or, like the NHL did a copyright claim. Every single day, though, since I've successfully fought that, and the person who did the copyright claim, or not the copyright claim, the copyright strike, voluntarily removed it. Every single day since then, when we look at our YouTube studio, you get either a black $, a yellow $, and a green $. Green $sign says it's fine for all advertisers. And up until then, most of mine were always green. Occasionally I'd get a yellow one because I swore too early or whatever. Occasionally I'd get one that's green that says sharing revenue because the person who said a copyright claim versus a copyright strike takes some of the revenue. But and then what the yellow one means is they're going to limit your ads or limit the types of advertising that can go on your channel. Ever since I had my little dust up with the running website that eventually removed the copyright strike from my video or non-video, every single day the little dollar sign's yellow, limited, limits your ads or people who will advertise on your channel. And every day I dispute it. I request them to review it, and the next day, every day, it turns green again, like it's supposed to be. That should be the default, right? You make videos or do streams, and as soon as they post the stream, the thing should stay green. But every single day since April 26th, it's been yellow. When I come back and look at it because after the stream, what happens? It automatically processes and turns into a video on your channel. And then it goes through the algorithm process and it gives you whether or not you're going to have a green start or not. Every day, limited ad revenue, and I have to go dispute it. And then they change it. And literally every single one since then, yellow, I went and requested a review and they've changed it back to green every single day. Does that sound random to you? I think they don't like you, even if you, the strike from back then was wrong and the people withdraw it. Now you're under scrutiny, and they fuck with you. Also, the fact that I've been complaining to them every day, or not every day, but I was for a while. Every single day I wrote to the copyright. Hey, you gonna tell me what the strike was for or not? Hey, you gonna tell me what the strike for? I have a right to know what the strike was for. Hey, I have a right to know the information of the person striking me because you give them my information. I am also entitled to their information. Yeah, whatever. Is what it is. So anyway, in the links down below after the show, you'll have this one, Matt Iglesias' article, and also the characteristics of white supremacy culture from this characteristic of white supremacy culture by Tima Okun, and whoever D-Works is. DismantlingRacism.org. Ooh, I'm gonna have to check out that website too. I'm always curious because I just think a lot of diversity training infantilizes us, whatever, makes people of color, quote unquote, just makes us look weak and dependent. And I'm with the Hoteps. Hotep and build. Stop. I don't give a shit what white people think about me, except the ones that I'm married to and they're part of her family, which actually my grandmother's half Native American. But anyway, I don't care. Because I don't care what anyone thinks about me unless I'm doing business with them or interacting with them on a regular basis. And unless there's nothing in my life that the systems, the so-called systems of racism, somehow I seem to be escaping them because I'm just living my life. And I think more people need, anyway, I may be wrong. All right, let's get into the news now that we've gone through the main topic, and let's just we'll do snippets of news like we did yesterday. And I think I'm gonna start doing this more often because I think sometimes I get way too deep into some of the news articles, and since I do link every article in my one link at the end of the show, if you really want to get more detail, you can. I encourage you to read some of the articles. They're usually pretty interesting. So the other day, there was a mass shooting in Colorado, right? It's funny because I haven't, usually these things, you hear about them and then they suddenly have, you hear about them for days, right? Now, I don't know if something was different about that one in Colorado. I should probably not say the words mass shooting either because YouTube's so weird. But so there's this mass event, right? Pew Pew event in Colorado. It was big news on Twitter, right? All over Twitter because, the gun people, the anti-gun people were tweeting about it. And, all the woke white people were tweeting about it. Oh, another white man with a gun and, we need gun control and this and that and that. And I'm just fascinated by this. What gets talked about the most is what fits an agenda most. So I just can assume that the perpetrator and some of the victims were white. Okay. Because those are the ones that get, emphasized the most, particularly when the perpetrator is white and if the victim is white, or if the perpetrator is white and the victims are black, or if the perpetrator is a cop and the victims are black. But there's always this, it's always about, here's what I think. I think the people who want to put this narrative out don't give a shit about black people. They don't. They really, really don't. And I do. Because here's the thing. Yes, when an officer of the law kills a black person, it's all over the news every single time, especially if it's unarmed, especially if it can make a clickbait, viral stuff every time. But, leading cause of death among black men ages 15 to 54 is homicide, regardless of who does it. Now, obviously, proximity, it's going to be mostly black men. And, I don't always like to bring up the correlation between demographic and the events, but I have to here because when people say Black Lives Matter, well, which Black Lives Matter? I want more Black Lives to matter. But there was also, but let's go back to the shooting the very same day. Now this is in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So for flyover country, it's in flyover country because most things that matter happen on the coast, national news. If something happens over flyover country, it better be a mass shooting that they can exploit, or a pew pew event or a police versus citizen event where the demographics are correct. But Colorado Springs was one of those that became big news around the country, right? Now, wouldn't you think if there was another event the same day in the media capital of the world, New York City, you would think that would too probably be big news because it's in media, not flyover country where everyone's more important on the coast, right? But there was one in New York City, not only in New York City, it was in Times Square, New York City. Now, here's what I'd like you to do if you're in my chat right now. By the way, how many people are here? There's only 30 people here? Okay, there must be something else going on because maybe HB is streaming or something. Whatever. It happened in Times Square. A mass pew pew event happened in Times Square. Now you would think that would be pretty rare, pretty big news because it's in the media capital of the world, New York City. Get a rope. And yet, most people didn't hear about it. Well, just before 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon in Times Square, a man began firing randomly into the crowd, injuring 3 people, including a 4-year-old girl. The white supremacy is the biggest threat to our nation, and we must have gun control propaganda mill couldn't even start its wheels turning before the perpetrator was identified as a 31-year-old illegal CD peddler and possible drug dealer Farrakhan Muhammad, who is still at large as of Monday afternoon. Oh, can't use this one. It doesn't fit a narrative. Now, I'm not, this is Robert Spencer, and Robert Spencer is very focused on the religion aspect and whatever, but it's just, that's, which is fine if that's your cup of tea, but it's so weird that you didn't hear about this one. Oh, that's because it happened by one of my people. So they don't want to talk about this, but it's what you would think, middle of Times Square. No big deal was made of this. It's very odd. The article will be in the links down below. Oh, by the way, we'll move on because I'm just going to go through a lot of this quickly. Why is the government hiding January? This is in American Greatness. Why is the government hiding January 6th video footage? The American public still doesn't know exactly what happened on January 6th, and it's clear the government will use any means necessary to keep it that way. I laugh at this picture. Take a look at this picture. Do y'all know what this is? Oh, I missed a whole lot of people. Let me say hi to everybody that I missed here. Useful Rebel, how you doing? Gentee, what's up? Random American, Mank, Pete. Who else was I missed? Quite a few. I got Keith, Random American. Why are you so angry? I'm kind of caught up. Okay. You know what this picture is a picture of? Right here, see this right here? These guys sitting near whatever that is or whatever. Anyone know? Eject, what's up? Looks like a well-tanned white supremacist to me, man. Yeah. This is one of the photos from the selfie insurrection. This is a picture from this is the insurrection, guys. Having a seat and looking around in awe of the building that they're in. Joe Biden calls it the worst attack since the Civil War. Attorney General, oh, wait a minute. Hi, Drew, and Eject. Attorney General Merrick Garland compares it to the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing. The FBI is breaking down the doors of Iraq War veterans and small business owners who have no criminal records, and some are hauled off to rot in solitary confinement in a fetid D.C. jail for their involvement in the alleged travesty. These events, of course, is the roughly 4-hour-long disturbance at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. You know what's funny about this? Okay, this just popped into my head. So they called this an insurrection, right? They keep calling it an insurrection. I call it just a riot of some knuckleheads, and they decide to do some shit and do some vandalism and shit. But they called it an insurrection, right? Out of curiosity, because only one shot was fired during this insurrection, because the only people who had any weapons were the police, and one of the police shot one of the people who, rioted and whatever, did their bullshit in the Capitol, which they should be charged for, but probably not for insurrection or felonies. But anyway, how exactly did this insurrection end? Did it end in lots of bloodshed, and they had to shoot people to get and kill them to stop the insurrection and whatever, and or were there even hundreds and hundreds of arrests on that day because these people were trying to take over the building forever? Because an insurrection, if it were an insurrection, would they try to hold the building, or at least the rooms that they got in the building? But they all kind of just left, right? Again, worst insurrection ever. But anyway. The events, of course, is the roughly 4-hour-long disturbance at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th, as mostly nonviolent Americans dared to protest Congress's certification of a clearly, I'm reading someone else's words, YouTube fraudulent presidential election in a place that was once considered the people's house. Lawmakers scurried for cover as reporters and photographers captured part of the ruckus on video and still shots to wield as political ammunition against Trump and his supporters. But have we seen the full and fair depiction of exactly what happened on that day? The answer is as evidenced by an ongoing cover-up by the U.S. Capitol Police and the Justice Department clearly is no. Almost all the January 6 videos seen by the public isn't from official government sources, but by social media and journalists on the scene. For example, the widely viewed footage of protesters occupying the Senate chamber was recorded by a New York journalist, but thousands of hours of real-time footage is in the hands of the Capitol Police, and that agency, along with government lawyers and federal judges, is using every legal trick possible to keep the trove hidden from the public, even as clips are presented in court as evidence against hundreds of January 6 defendants. According to an affidavit filed in March by Thomas DiBiase, kind of like Ted DiBiase. Remember anybody, blah, 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 blah. Anybody Let me try this one last time. Anybody remember Ted DiBiase? What was his nickname? Put it in the chat. According to an affidavit filed in March by Thomas DiBiase, the Capitol Police Department's general counsel, the building is monitored 24/7 by an extensive system of cameras positioned both inside and outside the building, as well as near the other congressional offices on the ground. The system captured more than 14,000 hours of footage between noon and 8 p.m. On January 6th, the archive was made available to two Democratic-controlled congressional committees, the FBI and the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. After a request by Congress, the agency reportedly handed over the footage from the entire 24-hour period. Now, yes, he was the $1 million man. Good job, Tackle Packy. You get the bell. Ted DiBiase was the $1 million man. He's from Omaha, by the way, where I grew up. 14,000 hours of footage, and they've handed over to Congress. You notice there aren't any people in Congress really chirping about this after they've seen some of this stuff, right? Anyway, the Capitol Police also produced selective clips for Democratic House impeachment managers to use in the trial against Donald Trump. Yeah, they pulled a Project Veritas and did very selective editing. Unlike Project Veritas, we haven't seen the entire raw footage. Just saying. Now, Capitol Police argue that making all the tapes available to defense attorneys, they're not even allowing the defense attorneys to have some of the footage, let alone the American public, could provoke future violence. How, Sway? How? I need one of these. Because that's BS. The department has significant concerns with the release of any of its footage to defendants in the Capitol attack cases unless there are safeguards in place to prevent its copying and dissemination. DiBiase wrote on March 17th, our concern is that providing unfettered access to hours of extremely sensitive information to defendants who have already shown a desire to interfere with the democratic process will be passed on to those who might wish to attack the Capitol again. They are so deeply full of mounds and mounds and mounds of cow shit produced by bulls. defense counsel may not provide a copy of highly sensitive materials to defendant or permit defendant to view such materials unsupervised by defense counsel or an attorney, investigator, paralegal, or support staff person employed by defense counsel. Judge Amit Mehta wrote in a protective order related to the conspiracy case against members of the Oath Keepers. The parties agree that defense counsel or an attorney, investigator, paralegal, or support staff person employed by defense counsel may supervise defendant by allowing access to highly sensitive materials through a cloud-based delivery system that permits defendant to view the materials, but does not permit defendant ability to download. Well, why didn't they just say that in the first place? Anyway, you can read the rest, but they're really, what are they afraid of? This is one of those things where, maybe the great selfie insurrection wasn't, the great selfie insurrection wasn't such a insurrection after all. Just saying. Moving on. Is Anheuser-Busch drunk? The beer behemoth is forcing the woke gender unicorn on its employees. This is part of beer. This is how you make beer. We need to make sure we teach everyone the gender unicorn. I'm sure all those union beer can machine operators are really, really concerned about this kind of shit. Virgil was Ted DiBiase's bodyguard. Very good. Was I a fan of Virgil? Virgil was an interesting character. Let's just talk wrestling for a second, because this is one of my favorite topics, even though I probably don't spend a lot of time on my show talking about it. I love the Attitude Era. Anyway, Virgil was a funny character because, man, DiBiase just treated him like shit. And so the episode where Virgil turned, or I call it episodes because it's not real. The episode where Virgil turns on DiBiase was one of the greatest moments in WWF history, because it was still WWF back then. It's amazing. That I love the storylines they came up with. And also it's funny because now as I go through old YouTube videos, it's interesting to see some of these people before they had the character that they're most famous for. So, for example, when you look at old video of The Undertaker, before that he was known as Mean Mark and something, the Master of Destruction. Like he originally came in like wrestling in the South as the Master of Destruction. So you see old videos when that's his name, and then later he became Mean Mark, and it was all these things. And then the Undertaker just blew up for him, and it was one of the greatest. One of the greatest wrestling characters of all time. Same thing with Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he originally was in some of the southern, not southern, but some of the wrestling circuits. He came out as kind of a more flamboyant guy, with the long blonde hair and stuff. But the Stone Cold character just blew up for him, and so you can see a lot of these wrestlers if you watch. There's all kinds of YouTubes of old video where you can see their like former selves and different characters they went through over time. Like even watching Mick Foley go through his several characters that he was. In fact, funny, the other day, I don't know why this popped up on my recommends, but there was the Royal Rumble where Mick Foley first came out. I think he came out first as Dude. Did he come out as Dude Love first? No, he came out as Cactus Jack first. And there's supposed to be 30 people at the Royal Rumble. He gets kicked. He gets knocked out, and he comes back in as Dude Love. He wrestles and he gets through, then he gets knocked over next time for the top ring, and he's eliminated. And then he comes back as Mankind. Oh no, it was the other way around. Mankind, then Dude Love. He came out like 4 times in the same Royal Rumble. It was hilarious. And everyone knows it's Mick Foley, but he comes out as different character. All 3 of his characters that he'd been in the WWF or WWE or whatever it was by then. Anyway, all right, let's go back to Budweiser, because this is very important for the making of beer. it's absolutely important that, you know, your employees not only know the different types of hops and you know, getting good pure water and temperatures and the cooking temperatures and the proper time it takes to, you know, ferment some of the, you know, the hops and grains that they use in beer. I think it's rice and Budweiser, but anyway. But you also need to know, it's very important that you know the gender unicorn. Okay, another all-American brand, Anheuser-Busch, has jumped on the woke train. The maker of Budweiser, among other brands with a robust craft beer collaboration line, has partnered with radical professors in education and humanities at Arizona State University. Oh, thank goodness. To develop and implement a 15-module training program called To Be Welcoming. It is based on critical race and gender theory, according to a whistleblower who spoke with PJ Media. An email from Chief People Officer Lindsay King. Chief People Officer. Budweiser has a Chief People Officer. What the unmitigated hell is that? Oh, here's the letter. I'll leave that open too. Oh, we're going to read the letter. Ooh, this is good. Anyway, announced on March 24th, 2021. In the letter, King uses typical language about an inclusive workplace, how diversity brings better ideas. This new curriculum follows psychological safety. Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question. Thank you. What the hell does this have to do with making beer? Oh my God. The new curriculum follows psychological safety training for company leaders designed to foster environments where our teams and perspectives can thrive. I want to make beer. I want to make a beer, and then when I'm done, I want to drink a few beers. How's that sound? The overall goal is maintaining an inclusive work environment, one where every individual feels respected and empowered to bring their authentic selves to work every day. No employer really wants that shit. I embellished that sentence myself. Employers want employees to come to work, complete their assigned tasks, and contribute to the success and profitability of the enterprise. In other words, they want white supremacy. Anheuser-Busch knows this and integrates these concepts into their 10 principles. While they give a nod to diversity in the people section, the company also says, quote, "Yeah, we believe in common sense and simplicity. We operate with excellence and efficiency in all we do. Always having our customers and consumers in mind, we manage our costs tightly to free up resources that will support profitable top-line growth." Notice not one word of diversity there. In fact, Anheuser-Busch has to make millions and millions of gallons of beer that tastes the same every time you buy it, or they won't be in business anymore. So I don't know if that unicorn's going to make the beer taste any different. I certainly hope not, although I don't think I drink any Anheuser-Busch products. I'm more into, what's the beer up in Two Harbors that I drink all the time? God, I can't even remember. Castle Danger. That's like my go-to right now. I like Castle Danger out of Two Harbors, Minnesota. And I also like Grain Belt Premium, which is an old brand, but it's still very tasty beer if you like beer. Some of you probably don't like beer. I don't, but whatever. Infamous One hi, Infamous One. I just see you there too. All right, so I'm going to skip the rest of the article. Okay. I want to read the letter, and then we're going to go back to the gender unicorn that they're teaching at Anheuser-Busch. This is going to be it for today. Holy shit. I'm running out of time. I must have been on a lot of tangents, but I hope this has been entertaining. And if it has been entertaining, drop a couple bucks in the tip jar, and or share, likes, and all that stuff. You can help me. You don't have to give me money to help me, although I appreciate it. But you can also just share the stream and hit the like button. I'm fine with that too. This show's always free, and we enjoy it together. You and us, me. So let's talk. Let's read the letter. Then we'll check out the gender unicorn, and then I'll go through what's in the other articles that I have bookmarked for you, and then we're gonna get the hell out of Dodge. So here we go. Here's the letter from Lindsay. A message from Lindsay. Now, Lindsay, again, what is her title? Her title is, now this is a title in an American company. Her title is Chief People Officer. Chief People Officer. Here's the letter from Lindsay. Dear colleagues, we are committed to maintaining an inclusive work environment, one where every individual feels respected and empowered to bring their authentic selves to work every day. Late last year, we reaffirmed our commitment to an inclusive workplace through the launch of Unite US, get it? Unite Us. Our platform to champion the causes that bring our people together while celebrating the diversity of our teams. In the fall, we introduced a new I&D program to help provide our teams with the tools and resources to understand different perspectives and empower every individual to create more welcoming environments. This included our guest speaker, Dr. Sean Harper, for a candid conversation on racial equality and the launch of our psychological safety training for our leaders to foster environments where our teams and perspectives can thrive. Perspectives of what? We're making beer, bitch. Anyway, I'm sorry. And again, when I use the word bitch is a generic term. It is not a sex, it's a gender neutral term in my vernacular, and it just means someone who's, I use it in the place of dumbass. I just say bitch. Although when my friend Rick, his nickname bitch, is not because he was a dumbass, it's because he was always bitching about stuff. I love my friend Rick. Anyway, Dr. Sean Harper for a candid conversation on racial equality and launched a psychological safety training for our leaders to foster environments where our teams and perspectives can thrive. Now, as a part of our 2021 strategy, I'm proud to share the next phase of our I&D training program. We partnered with Arizona State University to bring the robust To Be Welcoming training program to Anheuser-Busch, this 15-course curriculum. 15 courses! Good God! Is designed to help us all understand the human experience and address racial, gender, age, disability, sexuality, political culture, and other biases. Our salaried colleagues, they pay people to do this shit too, are asked to participate in these courses. Oh, yeah, they're not asked. They have to go through it. Anyone who's salaried, anyone who doesn't work by the hour has to take this training. For those leading team members without easy access to LMS, resources will be made available so that you can host a discussion amongst your teams. The courses are available now through IMS, that must be their system. For questions about the program, please reach out to your people business partner. Building and include. Now, this is the best. This is kind of word salad finish. Building an inclusive and diverse workforce is not only the right thing to do, but it helps us develop stronger ideas and deliver better results to lead future growth. Thank you for doing your part to make Anheuser-Busch an inclusive workplace. They're making beer. I don't think they give a fuck what you look like as long as you stir the pot right. All right, let's look at, we're going to finish with the unicorn, and then we'll go, I'll tell you what's in the other tabs. I didn't have a ton open today. Here's the gender unicorn. The gender unicorn, graphic by TSER. To learn more, go to transstudent.org/gender. Gender identity, female, woman, girl, male, man, boy, other genders. Gender expression, feminine, masculine, other. fashion, clothing, hair. Sex assigned at birth. Sex assigned at birth? The fuck are you talking about? You mean sex observed at birth. Not assigned. Observed. Whether it takes a thorough examination or a quick look, whether there's something there that's on the outside or pushes into the inside. Observed, not assigned. Observed. Science. She blinded me with science. Do, do, do. She blinded me with science. I'm going to do that once a day, I think. It's my favorite go-to funny. Sexually attracted to women, men, other genders. That's whether you're straight or gay or pan or whatever. And then finally, romantically, emotionally attracted to women, men, and other genders. Really? Does anybody really care? Does anybody really know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Dialogue chat. Okay, never mind. You can read this shit yourself. I don't know if anyone learns anything. All right, let's in the tabs today real quick before I go. And remember, everything we've talked about as far as an article or links that I've opened will be in the one tab link in the description down below. I'll put it in during the outro, and I'll let you know when that's ready. If you want to read any of these articles more carefully or more fully, or just to want a refresher on what I talked about today, you can read those articles there. The federal student loan chief allegedly facilitated racist, sexist work environment. Oh my goodness. Wait a minute. Oh, under whose administration? Let's find out. Is this going to be, are they going to blame this on Trump? Federal student loan chief allegedly facilitated racist, sexist work environment at whatever the CFPB is. A former employee accused Richard Cordray of trying to stifle her discrimination complaint. Well, wait a minute. Okay. The incoming head. This is the Biden administration guy. The incoming head of the Federal Student Loan Office is a former top dog at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's what the CFPB is, whose tenure there was marked by allegations of racism and sexism. The Biden administration tapped Richard Cordray last week to serve as chief operating officer of the Education Department's Office of Federal Student Aid, where he will oversee the country's ballooning $1.7 trillion federal student loan portfolio, according to a former CFPB employee. An outside investigator. Cordray and other bureau leaders perpetuated a culture of discrimination and intimidation at the CFPB. Well. That's interesting. You can read that one on your own. We'll go on. Also, the audit. People are still bitching about the audit at Maricopa County. Well, apparently, they're refusing to hand over the routers to the Arizona Senate. The latest update from Maricopa County local officials are refusing to hand over routers, claiming they don't have passwords to access the administrative control functions of voting machines. Oh, I see. They're not allowing a forensic audit. That's what's going on here. Okay, you can read the rest of that one later, too. Going on, the DOJ's top national security lawyer has also been slammed the investigation into government wrongdoing in the surveillance of a Trump aide. I keep having to move these because they don't fit on the page right. There we go. Through an investigation, Through an investigation found this is a bad sentence by Chuck Ross in the Free Beacon. I'm just going to read it as read, and you'll have to figure it out yourself. I'm the dumbass. And if you clip that, I'm just telling you, there might be trouble. Hello, Lord Stanhope. Though an investigation found that the U.S. government abused the surveillance system to target a Trump aide, the Department of Justice's latest hire slammed a probe into the origins of that wrongdoing as partisan silliness. Oh, no. It's okay if the government abuses a surveillance system as long as it's used against the wrong or the right person. So that's just partisan when it's used against the right person. But if it's used against one of our side, then there's going to be hell to pay. The now deleted tweet, Susan Hennessy, who was appointed on Monday as general counsel of the Justice Department's National Security Division, criticized special counsel John Durham's attempt to determine whether U.S. intelligence agencies improperly surveilled Donald Trump's presidential campaign when trying to identify Russian interference in the 2016 election. The National Security Division handles espionage and foreign-related investigations. So, and here it is. There it is. Durham has made it abundantly clear that in a year and a half, he hasn't come up with anything. I guess it's kind of a partisan silliness that has become a characteristic of Barr's legacy, but unclear to me why Durham would want to go along with it. Biatch. Shut the hell up. You can read that one on your own. Also in the tabs today, yes, Biden is swindling Americans. White House staffer lets the cat out of the bag. Oh, I bet you're wondering what this is about. Well, let's just take a quick peek. The myth of the moderate Joe Biden stubbornly refuses to die, partially because the Democrats and the legacy media are working overtime to keep him breathing. From day one, Biden has aimed to erase his predecessor's legacy, rejected Republican efforts to pass clean bills on COVID-19 and infrastructure, and inflame the culture war on abortion, transgenderism, and race. He even called Georgia's new election integrity bill Jim Eagle on steroids. Well, Jim Crow on steroids, but he called it Jim Eagle. This article basically is about the fact that even though Joe Biden is supposedly the great white moderate hope, everything he's done so far has been pretty out there. And you can read that one too. Also, White House COVID coordinator, in time, the CDC will allow vaccinated people more privileges to take off that mask. Oh, yeah. The mask I only wear when I really have to. This is the same guy saying that we are turning the corner on the pandemic. But he made it clear the Biden administration will not be satisfied until 70% of Americans are vaccinated. In the meantime, keep your mask handy until the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention allows you the privilege of not wearing one. Is that white supremacy? I wonder. Because I know a lot of black people don't want to wear a mask either. I'm saying. Anyway, and he was on State of the Union. Again, the video's there. Rockefeller Foundation, if the pop-up pops up. The Rockefeller Foundation bankrolls COVID-19 commission led by a Beijing sympathizer. Jeffrey Sachs has downplayed the Uyghur genocide and criticized U.S. foreign policy, but he... Anyway, one of the largest charitable foundations in the country has contributed $300,000 to a coronavirus commission formed by a Columbia University economist who advised a Chinese government planning commission and called the United States the greatest threat to global peace. So, he's kind of anti-American. The Rockefeller Foundation is one of two backers of the Lancet COVID-19 Commission, a collaboration between the British Medical Journal and Jeffrey Sachs, a prominent liberal economist who progressive groups push for a spot in the Biden administration. The commission says its goal is to develop recommendations for fighting the virus and addressing economic fallout from the pandemic, but the pro-Beijing views of Sachs and others could make it impossible for China to influence the commission as it plans to advise governments and United Nations institutions. Well, gotta be able to have someone who can talk to the Chinese in a language they can understand. Do it our way, or we will fuck with you forever. Moving on, this is an article from PJ Media. Scientists want you to panic over the flu that didn't happen last year. Yeah, they're kind of planning ahead for the next flu and want you to be afraid of that now. And the thing is, there's no such thing as flu over the last year and a half, has there? Because it's barely registered. Anyway, now they're trying to figure out what the next thing they can control you with is, and it's an interesting article. I don't know if I agree with it all, but it's here. And then finally, the last two, in the Daily Caller, apparently there's brides. This is my happy story of the day. A bride-to-be's lawsuit against DC. Why is dancing allowed? Just the title alone. Why is dancing allowed at strip clubs but banned at weddings? You can drop $1 in the G-string with your teeth, but you can't dance at your wedding with your mom. And so she has a lawsuit against the city of Washington, D.C. Mayor Bowser has banned dancing at weddings in the District of Columbia, but it's petty or Sat's imitation of Footloose. D.C. permits dancing at Zumba classes and strip clubs. Where is the consistency? And finally, if you're interested, a lot of times I get a lot of links from J.J. Sefton and his Cut Jib newsletter. Usually has a morning report that has a lot of good links to stories if you're interested. These are also copied over at the Ace of Spades blog where I do a lot of my stuff. So I'll have that link in the chat today, or in the description down below today. And on that note, before you do anything, stop what you're thinking about and hit the like button because, 42 likes and 26 people left. So there you go. Hit the like button, hit the share button, share the stream out on other social media. And if you'd like to be a sponsor of the show, you can do that. The information in the description down below. SuperChats, Streamlabs. If you don't want to give your money to Susan during the show, we'll read your messages. And also Venmo and Cash App links are in the description down below. That, my friends, is the end of the show. I hope you all have a great day. It will be Wednesday tomorrow because I was a little bit off. My days are running together a little bit, but I hope you enjoyed the Tuesday, the rest of your Tuesday. It's time for me to go. My name is P. Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thank you for watching today on the Dawg Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.